ASSIN-NORTH by-election. Let's connect now with Alhaji ABA Fusaini, former Deputy Northern Regional Minister, and also the MP Sanirigu. Good morning to you, sir, and Eid Mubarak.
Good morning and Eid Mubarak to all your listeners and all the members of the NDC fraternity, Ghanaians as a whole. And I'd like to send a special greeting to the good people of ASSIN-NORTH constituency. They have made Ghanaians duly very proud. And I want to say without any iota of hesitation, they have lifted the spirit of the nation. The two-soul performance they put up yesterday, in spite of everything and anything that was thrown at them yesterday, my sister, they threw everything. And let me also say a good morning to my brothers and sisters in Islam, and to wish everybody Eid Mubarak across the length and breadth of the country and the world. I reserve the special greeting for the good people of ASSIN-NORTH because they have demonstrated that money, material resources, and others should never become the basis upon which decisions are made in this country. They have sent a clear message that this country is ready for change from this hopelessly uninspiring government of Nana Akufo-Addo, Dr. Bawumia, which have taken pleasure in imposing an unprecedented level of hardship and suffering on Ghanaians. I am sure by this action of theirs, they have served notice to the MPP and the Nana Akufo-Addo government to start writing their handing over notice. And by the grace of Allah Almighty, on December 7th, 2024, they'll be shown the exit. Pave the way for His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC to come back and assume the reins of government, cleanse the system, put Ghana back to work, ensure that production and productivity see appreciation, make life better for Ghanaians, and restore the hopes and smiles on the faces of Ghanaians. I'm sure that clearly what they did yesterday will resonate across the length and breadth of the country. And I salute them for the integrity levels they have shown. In these days, these things are not real, especially when money flies in. A lot of people may lose their conscience and follow money. But I can tell you that what the people of ASSIN-NORTH have done, they have shown the way for many Ghanaians. And I believe that, inshallah, Ghanaians will imbibe useful lessons from what they have done, follow suit, and December 7, 2024 will become the landmark and the day of celebration for Ghanaians. I can tell you, my sister, the day Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia are shown the exit, there will be a carnival in this country. Ghanaians will come out in their hundreds of thousands of millions to celebrate and think that this bad nightmare we've had for these 8 years is gone. And that is the significance of what the good people of the ASSIN-NORTH have done. The Brichina people, yesterday I conferred on them and I told them that you are the Brichina people of this country, the whole country looks up to make that decision for Ghanaians. And they've never failed. They never failed us. They have done just that. And we are truly proud of them. I am still here and I feel so elated with them, and I don't have a regret that for the first time, I'm not spending my Salah with my constituency, Sanargo, with my family as well.
Okay.
I feel that it's a worthy sacrifice.
Okay. And at any point, Honorable, were you worried that the results were not going to go the way that you were hoping it would go? There was a lot of activity in the area.
The interviews that we granted here, I've made it abundantly clear because I've been here for 3 weeks. And so I know going around, we went around many places and met the people one-on-one. And they said to us, we are not like other people. Trust us, we'll do what it is. But first and foremost, my sister, I think that we should have given all thanks to the Almighty Allah. God is not a God of injustice. What this government wanted to visit us was a wicked ploy. It was just a vindictive exercise, just to try and get somebody to use raw political power to wrench the seats from somebody who legitimately went through the process and won an election, notwithstanding the travesty of Justice Honorable Jachikwesi suffered at the courts. Because it's clear, I'm sure everybody has heard how even legal luminaries have run down the judgment of the Supreme Court on that matter. Clearly, he said this was a clear travesty of justice. I'm wondering how the Supreme Court would descend into even issues of the filing of nominations and others. I mean, that is not their remit. And so it's clear. But Allah Almighty does not condone wickedness and injustice. I'm sure that is why he's giving it to the ASSIN-NORTH people to speak and speak loudly. And my sister, I'm sure you can see the mandate. The mandate that he got was twice what he got in 2020.
We do know it was, in fact, a wider margin.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's almost 6,000 votes. The other was 2,500 thereabouts. It is more than doubled. So they are sending that signal to those who thought they could use political power, raw political power, to take the seat from the good people of ASSIN-NORTH and from Honorable Jachikwesi, that they are dead wrong. They have more than doubled the mandate they gave him. So they have re-emphasized, re-echoed that they are not people who will be intimidated to allow the mandate they duly have to be conferred on the people, on somebody that they trust. And my sister, going around, I can tell you without any doubt, the number one, the MPP insulted the good people of ASSIN-NORTH. Why do I say so? Look, the candidate they went and brought, Charles Opoku
of the NPP.
He doesn't even come from here. I mean, I'm saying that he didn't even find it worthy enough to register in ASSIN-NORTH. The MPP told the people that of all the people who have been working for them in the party for all these years, they couldn't find one worthy person in ASSIN-NORTH to make as their candidate. They had to go and import somebody from Takwan Swahili.
But Honorable, we're told Charles Opoku has strong family ties in the area and is well known in that area.
So why didn't he register here? If he has strong ties, as you say, where should he have registered? So the strong ties are here, and the weaker ties are at Takwan Swahili. And he goes to register at the weaker ties. Or what do we make of it? Yeah, he didn't demonstrate any respect for the good people of ASSIN-NORTH. He had no business coming here. But MPP, for their opportunistic politics, they just thought they could poach him. I can tell you, my sister, this was a man who was very cozy with the NDC.
You say very cozy, in what way?
Who asked them? He was closer to the NDC. I am telling you this as a matter of record and things I found out here. He was closer to the NDC. And would have, but for the fact that perhaps Honorable Kwesi was rightly chosen as the NDC candidate, he was eyeing the decision to become the NDC candidate here. And the MPP thought that they could just go and poach him and take advantage. They were dead wrong.
Well, Honorable, let's talk about some of the points on which the NPP stood to campaign. They tout some 118 projects that have been completed in the area. Ultimately, that was not enough to sway the people. Why do you think that is? And being in there, having been in there for 3 weeks, what do you observe?
The people of ASSIN-NORTH are sending a very good lesson to the rest of Ghanaians. Look, if you wait until there's a by-election, and all of a sudden you resurrect projects that were dead, in comatose, suddenly develop a new lease of life and start gathering momentum. When those issues had been raised, and let me tell you this, my sister. Look, Honorable Jachikwesi, on the floor of Parliament, because I'm a member of Parliament and a colleague of his, as far back as last year, he raised all these issues about roads in the constituency. And Honorable, no less the person than Honorable Amakwata himself, came to Parliament to answer those questions. And at that time, and we all know sometimes the problem with the issues that the roads minister grapple with is that there's no money. And sometimes I sympathize with him because it happens that one of the most important and difficult areas in Parliament has been roads. Almost every member of Parliament has problems with roads. So we all raise those questions. And as far back as last year, Honorable Jachikwesi raised all those issues. Roads branching from Kushia to Bongru, Edinasu, all the other places in the ASSIN-NORTH constituency. This is all of them. Nothing was done because the Minister for Roads indicated there's no money. And all of a sudden, there's a by-election. And ASSIN Pushia and all those other routes suddenly experience the market square at Breku and all those things suddenly spring to life. And contractors are dispatched to start work, where earlier on they had said there was no money to start it. So it tells you. So the people are wiser. They have become aware that, look, you cannot use this to deceive us. They are just mere gimmicks. And we here in ASSIN-NORTH, and that is why I salute them as people of men and women of integrity.
Right. Well, no, but let me let you.
They will not be swayed by those farcical things that you are going to do only when there's a by-election.
Well, no, but hold that thought for me very quickly. I do have my colleague Eric Mauna Egbeta still in the area, and we can gauge what the temperature is like there. Then we'll get your final thoughts on this by-election. Mauna,
there was a carnival here. You should have come here to see.
I wish I was there. Mauna, good morning to you. Eid Mubarak.
Baraka de Sanla, Baraka Kade, I believe, will be the appropriate response.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mauna. Honorable ABA Hussein is also on the line with us. But tell us, what is the atmosphere in ASSIN-NORTH? You are there and you've been there throughout. Now that the results are out, what can you tell us?
So the Honorable mentioned that it was a carnival yesterday. That was the case, by and large, for a lot of the indigents who are there, who poured onto the street in their numbers to celebrate that victory secured by James Jachi Kwesen in the ASSIN-NORTH constituency. Even as of this morning, it's quite reminiscent, and still a lot of people going about celebrating and expressing delight at the outcome of yesterday's election results. For a lot of the indigents, it's been work done and rewarding what they feel has been an injustice done, Mr. Kwesen, by the ruling administration. And so by and large, it's been the general sentiment here in the constituency since they finished. We interacted with them amongst many things. That's largely been the conversations around the constituency.
Okay, and also today is a holiday, so I'm guessing that carnival atmosphere is a double combo.
Yes, it makes it even better for them, the holiday. My colleague Komla Kulichi has also been around the Breku area, which is the district capital, and sent videos as well, painting a much clearer picture as to exactly what it is that is happening there. And so they are celebrating still on the streets in Breku and enjoying all of the spoils from victory. And so that's by and large the picture in the ASSIN-NORTH constituency following yesterday's election and the results that we saw.
I take it that then the police presence has now dwindled significantly now that the elections are over. Do you see much police around, and any updates on some of the mishaps that happened yesterday, some of the alleged violence that was reported?
Well, for now, the police says that they are investigating a lot of the incidents. They are still quite in the communities, haven't left yet because there's a pre-production, as we have in our journalistic balance, pre-production, production, and then post-production. And so
that's right.
They want to take stock of everything that has happened, be able to gauge and understand what possible things could be done. The elections may be done, but you don't know who might feel aggrieved and want to decide to cause any mayhem whatsoever. And so the presence is still quite here, but we'll begin to see a large chunk of them begin to move out now as they've been quite heavy and strong in the constituency.
All right, Mauna, hold that thought again for me. Let me bring in Honorable again on this one. Honorable Fuseni, so we have the numbers now for Parliament, 137. We have the independent candidates. What do you make of that now moving forward as far as the task ahead, getting out of the economic conundrum we find ourselves in?
My sister, before I respond to what you said, let me take the opportunity to commend the IGP and the Ghana Police Service. In all honesty, they did a very professional job. They made sure that they provided a congenial atmosphere for the election to take place peacefully, transparently, and in a very open manner that would ensure that the will of the people has truly emerged takes hold. And I function. In fact, but for the intervention of the police, indeed, some few incidents would have occurred. We saw some people dressed with turbans and others, incredible, and you could see that clearly. These were not even regular police, because the regular police, when we had interactions with them, they all had their official uniform, their name badges, their numbers. These were people just dressed in some way with turbans covering even some of their faces, attempting to provoke people. But the police managed to handle the matter professionally. Where I functioned at Breku, I supervised about five police stations. Where we function at Breku, there was a house just by the Breku DJSS, where allegedly monies were being distributed yesterday. And those who went there to see the thing indicated they were distributing 1,000 CDs per person. It generated a lot of confusion, and people attempted to run into the house. It was the intervention of the police that brought order to the place. And so I can say without doubt that the police contributed substantially to the success of this election. And I think that they ought to be commended where they have done a good job. But coming back to where you are, I think the 137 was duly earned. And we in the NDC even know that. But for certain things that happened, we should have even been having 140 or 141. But I can assure you that it is an opportunity. What Ghanaians have told us in the NDC is that we must scrupulously hold this government's feet to the fire of accountability. And I think that it is time for us, with the energy that this election has brought, and with the duty that the good people have imposed on us, we ought to step up our accountability process with this government. We ought to hold the feet of this government to the fire of accountability and let them ensure that they answer truly to the needs and aspirations of our people. The suffering of Ghanaians is too much. And I think that further borrowings that are coming before us in Parliament, we ought to sit up as members of Parliament and deal with those matters. Look, you can't carry tricks. You are adding loss. My sister, you have not finished wrestling with Peter. You are adding Paul. We are indebted, and you are borrowing more. Those who are in the financial sector will tell us that when you are in such a situation, in such a deep pit, the last thing you should be doing is to continue digging. And that is what we are doing. We are in a pit and we are digging. So we are descending deeper and deeper into the throes of poverty. And we are making our matter worse. And so you see that this is a government that thinks that borrowing is an act of achievement for which you must commend them. And that is why even in spite of their stoic resistance to going to IMF, their chastisement of IMF, they have been dragged there in coma, and the country is in a mess. So I think that it is time for us as members of Parliament to endeavor to raise up the level of scrutiny and the level of vigilance, the level of accountability of this government to the good people of this country. And I think that is what we should be doing going forward, especially with our 137 members back. I want to say that under our caucus leader, and we had had it under the illustrious leadership of Honorable Harun Dusu, I want to believe that with Honorable Atu Fortin, the dynamism and the acumen, I mean, it's one of the financial gurus, I can say without any iota of doubt, in our parliament and this country. And I'm sure armed with that expertise, and being now the new leader of the minority in parliament and for the NDC group, I'm sure that Honorable Atufosin is going to lead us to do a very, very good job. Already so far, I'm sure that he's making the inroads, and I want to believe that they will lead us in parliament to hold the feet of this government to the fire of accountability and ensure that they account to the good people of this country. And when December 7 comes, they'll be kicked out of the executive for the man who can do the job better, who has a better track record, who has shown. Our people say that it is the man who has been able to wrestle his opponents to the ground, who can call his father's name. And I'm sure that His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama will come. The man you know in the daytime, you don't like a torch to identify him in the night. Ghanaians know him already, and I believe that they can sleep easy with President Mahama and rest that the Somalis will be brought back to their faces. I'm sure that this is where the ASSIN-NORTH elections has brought to Ghanaians. And Ghanaians across the length and the breadth of the country, I'm sure they are very elated. My sister, it is to tell the MPP, one of the things is not just because it was a local election. It was also a national referendum on the MPP. This one is to tell the MPP that the good people of ASSIN-NORTH are not happy with the way they have taken this country. And so they are pulling the brakes on them to tell them that this country is in a mess. We are not happy with the way you are running the affairs of state here. So this is a break. If you don't learn from this, worse things will come. In the general election, they'll even take a worse result. And possibly the next two ASSIN-NORTH, the ASSIN Central and ASSIN South seats, their counterparts in the other ASSIN areas will join them and vote the rest of the MPP people out and bring the NDC back to power to do a more diligent job. So I think that overall, it is a very heartwarming piece of news for this country. At least the contorted faces of many Ghanaians because of the unprecedented level of hardship will relax with some few smiles. Ghanaians. Yesterday, I mean, like I said, the carnival on the streets and others showed for once that at least Ghanaians had the opportunity to get some small joy back from this depressing, hopelessly uninspiring situation this visionless government has plunged. And I think that is a good step forward.
All right, Honorable. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for speaking with us and sharing your thoughts. I hope you can enjoy the rest of the holiday.
I want to salute our media colleagues too. Once a journalist, always a journalist. I've spent
Absolutely.
More than 3 decades of Martin as a journalist in my life. And I think that I want to commend you for the professional job that was also done by our media colleagues in making sure that they brought the news timelessly to Ghanaians for them to follow what was going on. Thank you so much, and thanks for your good service.
Thank you also, Honorable, for spending time with us this morning. Again, Eid Mubarak. Let's wrap up now with Mawina Egbeta, still in the vicinity. Mawina, as we wrap up this morning, final words on the atmosphere, on what the people think the way forward is going to be. Are you getting a sense of where the people are at the moment? Are they hopeful for the future based on this result?
Well, for a lot of them, they are looking forward to what happens in the coming days with regards to the development and a lot of the projects that they were witnessing and the likes. They're hoping that it can continue, and they're looking forward to things coming or returning to normalcy for them. A number of them who I spoke to earlier raised concerns about how the town had been taken over by a lot of in quote, foreigners, and that all they want is for peace and tranquility to prevail so that they can return to their normal ways of doing things. And so for a lot of them, the expectation is that, yes, they've let their voices be heard in this by-elections. Now they want normalcy so they can return and then get back to their businesses.
Thank you so much for that, Maun. I'm sure you have some meat lined up for yourself this morning.
We're now trying to get something to eat, myself and the rest of us.
Don't come back empty-handed or don't return at all.
All right.
See you soon, Maruna. And again, kudos to yourself and the team for the incredible coverage. We're all very grateful for the professional, timely coverage. All of that, you guys, you do all. This is really the Election Command Center, and you were great and instrumental yesterday. So thank you so much.
Right then, team effort. The acts that I mentioned their names to Ishmael,
Yes,
Philip, Thomas Khan here as well, Mario as well, and then Komla Kluche, all of us together, and William Evantin was here as well, just to get things sorted.
amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Maruna, for that, and thank you for your great work on the coverage.
Right then.
And we were just speaking there with our colleague Eric Mauna Egbeta, who's been covering the by-elections for us along with the rest of the team. Also on the line was the Honorable Alassane Fuseni, popularly known as Alhaji ABA Fuseni. He says, once a journalist, always a journalist. He's also the former Deputy Northern Regional Minister and now MP for the Sanerigo constituency, sharing his sentiments. He says he's opted out of the celebrations today because he had to be in ASSIN-NORTH to see what was happening there. But somebody who was also right in the thick of things, election command. What was the right terminology? Commandeer.
Center. Election command center.
No, but you are the what position are you in the center?
I was a bombardier.
You're bombardier. Bombardier Hughes, good morning. Eid Mubarak.
Yeah, Eid Mubarak to all of us.
I don't see any meat by your side.
There's anthrax, so we're all being very careful.
We spoke with Christopher, Ibrahim. They said measures are being put in place. People have been observing.
My measure is that I won't indulge. Yeah,
you want to be careful.
Yeah, so happy to Sami, to Maestro, to Murtala Mohammed, to Kamal Din Abdullahi, to ABA Husseini himself, Dr. Baumia. We love his raincoat, Fugu, Salam. Everybody who's a Muslim, we love them.
Yeah.
But yesterday, after that, the elections, while the voting was ongoing, Mr. Ben Efson of the Daily Dispatch newspaper, he had done a poll and put Charles Opoku of the NPP ahead of James Chachi-Kwesin, and he said he was very sure that he was going to win. In fact, in the morning of yesterday, the front page of his newspaper had it that it was going to be Opoku's day. And if you check page 2 or 3 or so of the paper as well, he had said that he would be surprised if Alan Tremantin beats Kennedy Japan to make second place in the presidential primaries. So I sort and asked him how he felt, whether or not he got it wrong, and how that will stretch if you were doing an analysis of the presidential primaries that will happen in November, and whether or not getting it wrong twice or more won't have an implication on the presidential primary. So he spoke exclusively to us yesterday on 3FM 92.7.
All right, let's take a listen from the horse's own mouth.
3FM Sunrise.
Being joined on the phone line by pollster Ben Efson. Thank you very much indeed for your time, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, John, and good evening to our viewers.
Great. Now, first of all, you are trending on Twitter. Has that come to your attention, sir?
No, I'm not on social media, but I've been told, and that the NDC, I'm looking at the results, and it looks like the NDC has won. So that is it. Elections, you may have